A bank manager slapped a pregnant black woman in front of everyone, but he didn't know she was the wife of the most feared mafia boss in New York. And within hours, the entire city would regret letting that slap happen. In a world full of struggles and second chances, every story hides a lesson worth learning. This is Afnan Art, where ordinary lives become extraordinary tales. Sit back, open your heart, and let the story begin. The morning sun had barely touched the glass towers of Lower Manhattan when Ariana Brooks pushed open the tall glass door of Manhattan Financial Bank. Her steps were slow and careful, her 9-month pregnancy showing clearly beneath her coat. Some customers glanced at her with sympathy, but Ariana kept moving with quiet determination. She carried a check from her husband, meant to prepare for their baby's arrival. Inside the bank, the atmosphere was busy as always. Tellers typed quickly, printers spat out receipts, and the echo of heels clicked across the marble floor. But one person noticed Ariana with narrowed, suspicious eyes. Richard Cole, the bank manager. Known for his arrogance, his perfectly slicked back hair, and the expensive gray suit he wore like a badge of superiority. Ariana took a waiting number and sat gently, one hand resting on her belly. When a teller finally called her forward, she rose with effort and approached the counter. Richard stepped in front of her. "You. Stop right there," he said sharply. "Let me see that check." Ariana blinked in confusion but handed it to him. The check was official, clean, signed properly. A large amount, but nothing unusual for the bank. Yet Richard didn't care. His expression twisted with disdain as he studied Ariana from head to toe. Her dark skin, her simple clothes, her swollen belly. Everything about her seemed to offend him. "Where did you get this?" Richard said loudly, making sure the entire lobby heard him. Ariana spoke softly but firmly. "Sir, this check belongs to my husband. I'm only here to withdraw a portion." Richard scoffed. "Please. People like you think you can walk into Manhattan and pretend you're wealthy." A few customers looked up, sensing tension. Ariana held her bag tightly, refusing to be intimidated. "I am telling you the truth," she said quietly. Richard stepped closer, his voice rising. "No, you're lying. And I don't tolerate liars." Ariana felt her heartbeat speeding up. Her baby shifted inside her, reacting to the stress. "Please," she repeated. "I just need the funds my husband left for me." Richard gave a mocking smile. "Your husband. Right. And I'm the president." Then he grabbed the check from her hand, yanking it hard enough to make her flinch. "You people always try this scam," he said, waving the check. "Fake checks. Fake names. Fake stories." Ariana stepped back, a sharp pain hitting her lower stomach. "Please stop. You're hurting me." The word hurting seemed to trigger Richard instead of calming him. In one sudden moment of rage, his hand swung through the air and slapped Ariana across the face. The sound cracked through the bank like a gunshot. Customers froze. A woman gasped. A teller stopped typing mid-keystroke. Ariana staggered, barely catching her balance. Her hand flew to her cheek, then to her belly. Her baby kicked hard, as if frightened. Richard stood tall, chest puffed out, his eyes filled with cold contempt. "That's what happens when you lie in my bank," he said. Ariana slowly lifted her face. Her cheek burned, her eyes shimmered, but her voice was steady. "You have no idea what you've just done." Richard smirked. "Oh, I know exactly what I did." Ariana shook her head slowly. "No, you really don't." Without raising her voice, without losing her dignity, she turned and walked out of the bank. Every step was slow, steady, controlled. Every pair of eyes followed her. Nobody spoke. They all felt something terrible had just been set in motion. Ariana stepped outside into the noise of Manhattan sidewalks, touched her bruised cheek, and whispered under her breath with trembling lips, "Marcus, please pick up." Miles away in Brooklyn Heights, a man the city feared more than its storms would soon hear her voice. And when he learned what happened to his wife, the whole city would tremble. Ariana had barely reached the curb outside the bank when a sharp sting shot across her cheek. She steadied herself on a streetlight, breathing slowly, trying to calm the storm inside her chest. Her baby shifted again, restless, sensitive to every vibration of her fear. Around her, the chaos of Manhattan moved as usual. Taxi horns. Shouting vendors. Footsteps rushing in every direction. But to Ariana, everything felt distant, muffled, as if the world had stepped into slow motion. Then her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She opened it with trembling fingers. A video. The video. Someone inside the bank had recorded the entire incident. Richard Cole's raised hand. The slap. Ariana stumbling back. The shocked faces around them. The moment her dignity was torn apart in front of strangers. But the shaky recording captured something else too. The quiet strength in her eyes when she said, "You have no idea what you've just done." The video was only 40 seconds long. But it was enough. Because the moment Ariana pressed play, she realized it was already spreading. The message included a link. Trending on TikTok, New York. Her stomach twisted. The world was seeing what she had tried to escape from. She didn't want attention. She didn't want sympathy. She wanted safety. For herself. For her child. And she wanted her husband. She pressed Marcus's name on her phone. But before he could answer, a group of teenagers nearby watched something on one of their screens and gasped. "Oh my God. That bank manager guy really slapped her. That's crazy. She's pregnant. What's wrong with him?" Ariana's heart pounded. She turned away quickly, pulling her coat tighter around her body. She felt exposed, vulnerable, and suddenly very small in a city filled with millions. She walked toward the curb just as a cab slowed down. She opened the door but froze when her phone finally connected. "Ari." Marcus's deep voice filled her ear, calm but thick with something she rarely heard from him. "Fear. Ari, talk to me. What happened?" Her throat tightened. Words got stuck. She placed a hand over her belly and finally whispered, "He hit me." Silence. Complete silence. Even the traffic noise seemed to fade. When Marcus finally spoke, his voice was too calm, too steady. "Ari, where are you right now?" "Outside the bank. I'm getting in a cab." "Good. Go home. Darius and the others will be there in 5 minutes. Stay with them. I'll be home soon." "Marcus," her voice quivered, "please don't do anything dangerous." He exhaled sharply through his nose. "I won't do anything, unless someone deserves it." Then the line went dead. Ariana sank into the cab seat, one hand on her belly, one on her cheek. Tears finally slid down her face, silent and heavy. Not because of pain, but because she knew her husband. The city feared him. His enemies feared him. But most of all, he feared nothing when it came to protecting her. The cab pulled away from the curb, blending into Manhattan traffic just as the video reached 20,000 views. In less than an hour, it would cross 1 million. And by the time Ariana reached her penthouse in Brooklyn Heights, New York would be on fire. Not from violence, but from rage. Rage directed at the man who dared to hit a pregnant woman. A man who had unknowingly hit the wife of the most dangerous man on the East Coast. And that fury was nothing compared to the storm that Marcus Donovan was about to unleash. In a private office on the top floor of a luxury high-rise in Brooklyn Heights, Marcus Donovan stood alone, staring out at the skyline. His suit jacket hung over the back of his chair, his sleeves rolled up, his tie loosened. He had spent the entire morning in meetings, discussing territory disputes and business expansions. Nothing unusual. Nothing emotional. Until his phone buzzed. Ariana's name lit up the screen. He answered immediately, expecting her soft voice, her laugh, her calm presence. Instead, he heard the words that froze every drop of blood in his veins. "He hit me." Marcus didn't move. Didn't blink. For a moment, he didn't even breathe. His hand tightened around the phone so hard the plastic casing creaked. Richard Cole. Manhattan Financial Bank. A slap. Ariana. Pregnant. Scared. The pieces formed a single picture. And that picture made something ancient and dangerous wake inside him. The moment the call disconnected, Marcus clicked a small switch beneath his desk. A hidden door slid open behind a bookshelf, and 3 men stepped out. Darius King. Tall, broad, calm-eyed, the man Marcus trusted with his life. Leon Hayes, thin and sharp like a blade. Miguel Sutter, quiet and brutal. All three stood straight. Darius was the first to speak. What happened? Marcus didn't raise his voice, didn't shout, didn't rage. He simply said 4 words. Someone hurt my wife. The room fell silent, the air tightening. Darius's jaw flexed, but he stayed composed. Who? He asked. Marcus held out his phone. The viral video played, the slap echoing through the room. Ariana stumbling, her hand flying to her belly. Richard standing over her like a king over a broken subject. Leon swore under his breath. Miguel's fists curled. But Marcus watched in complete stillness. Not calmness. Stillness. The kind that happens right before a thunderstorm destroys everything in its path. She called me right after this, Marcus said. She's shaken. She's hurting. She's terrified our baby was affected. The tone of his voice was cold enough to freeze steel. Darius nodded once. What do you want us to do? Marcus turned from the window, eyes sharp as knives, voice low and steady. I want everything. Darius understood instantly. All intel on him. Background. Family. Finances. Habits. Weak spots. Everything, Marcus repeated. And the bank, Leon added quietly. Marcus's expression didn't change. Every person who allowed that to happen. Every employee who watched. Every supervisor who ignored her. Every policy he hid behind. He grabbed his jacket, sliding it onto his shoulders slowly, deliberately. By sundown, I want the man who touched my wife stripped of every piece of his life. His job. His dignity. His future. His freedom. He stepped forward, adjusting the cuffs of his shirt. And I want him to understand exactly why his world is falling apart. Darius nodded once. It'll be done. But Marcus wasn't finished. He reached into his drawer and pulled out a small velvet box. Inside was a delicate gold bracelet Ariana had been wanting for months, one she planned to wear after giving birth. He closed the box gently, almost tenderly. She's home now, he said softly. Guard her. Don't let her lift a finger. Don't let her answer the door. Don't let her walk alone. Darius placed a hand over his chest. With my life. Marcus grabbed his coat and walked toward the elevator. Where are you going? Leon asked. Marcus looked over his shoulder, eyes burning like quiet fire. To remind Manhattan Financial Bank who they just picked a fight with. The elevator opened. He stepped inside. And for the first time since Ariana's call, he allowed himself to feel. Not anger. Not fury. Not vengeance. But fear. Fear of losing the woman who had saved him from his own darkness. A man like Marcus Donovan didn't fear prison, didn't fear enemies, didn't fear death. But hurting his wife? That was the one unforgivable act. An act that Manhattan would never forget. Manhattan Financial Bank opened at 9 in the morning, the same way it had every weekday for the last 20 years. The marble floors shined. The gold logo gleamed. The air smelled like expensive perfume and printer ink. Everything looked perfect. Except today, the employees felt something strange in the air. A heaviness. A tension. A quiet pressure settling on their shoulders. As if the city itself was holding its breath. Inside his glass office, Richard Cole sat confidently at his desk, tapping through emails. He had seen the viral video. He had seen the comments. But instead of panic, he felt smug irritation. These idiots believe anything, he muttered. I run this place. No one can touch me. He sipped his morning espresso, unaware of how drastically his world was about to change. At 9:30, the first visitor arrived. A man in a black suit stepped through the front doors. Tall, broad-shouldered, skin smooth like polished onyx, eyes unreadable. Everything about him screamed discipline and silent power. Darius King. Without saying a word, he walked directly toward the reception desk. The receptionist swallowed hard. How may I help you, sir? Darius didn't smile. Didn't blink. I'm here for Richard Cole. He's in a meeting, she said softly, because that was what Richard always told them to say. Darius leaned in just slightly. No. He isn't. The receptionist froze. Something in his voice told her she should not lie again. Before she could say anything else, the doors opened again. And again. And again. Black SUV after black SUV lined the street outside, and 24 men stepped inside. All in black suits. All walking with the same controlled power. All silent. The bank's security guards stiffened. One took a step forward. "Sir, you can't bring a group like this inside." Darius turned his head. Just one look. The guard stepped back immediately. His throat bobbed as he swallowed. The lobby grew still as every employee, every customer, every guard felt it. These weren't normal men. They weren't cops. They weren't federal agents. They were something else. Something far more dangerous. Darius spoke again. "We're here for one man. Only one." His voice echoed through the marble hall like a warning bell. Customers pulled out their phones. Whispering started. Employees pretended to type but kept glancing at the men in black. And then, the final figure entered the bank. Marcus Donovan. No extravagant entrance. No theatrics. Just a slow, deliberate walk as the lobby fell completely silent. His dark coat. His calm eyes. His presence, heavy as a storm. Everyone moved aside without being asked. Richard didn't know this yet. He was still in his office, bragging on a phone call. "No, Clara, don't listen to the internet. That woman was exaggerating. You know how these people are." He stopped when the fire alarm panel on his wall blinked red. "Unauthorized entry detected, executive wing." Richard frowned. "What the?" The door to his office opened. One of the bank security guards stood there, sweating, eyes wide. "Sir, someone's here to see you." Richard rolled his eyes. "I told you, I'm not taking walk-ins. Send them away." The guard shook his head. "I can't." "Can't? What do you mean you can't?" Then Marcus stepped into the doorway. Richard's face drained of color. For the first time in years, he felt something unfamiliar creep through his chest. Fear. Marcus looked around the pristine office. His voice was calm. Too calm. "You slapped my wife." Richard's hands shook. I don't. I mean it was a misunderstanding." Marcus took a single step forward. The floor seemed to vibrate. "You put your hands on a woman who's 9 months pregnant," he said quietly. "You made her stumble. You made her cry. You made her call me with fear in her voice." Richard stumbled backward into his desk. "Look, I didn't know who she was." Marcus leaned in slightly, expression unreadable. "That was your first mistake." He reached into his coat. Richard flinched. But Marcus didn't pull out a weapon. He placed a flash drive on Richard's desk. "Do you know what this is?" Richard swallowed. "No." "That," Marcus said softly, "is your life." Richard blinked. What?" Marcus nodded toward the drive. "Open it." Richard sat down, trembling, and plugged the drive into his laptop. His eyes bulged. His breath caught. Because what he saw was impossible. Video clips. Recorded calls. Leaked documents. Illegal transactions. Bribes. Manipulated client accounts. Complaints from employees he had buried. Proof of harassment. Proof of fraud. Proof enough to put him away for 20 years. How did you get this?" Richard whispered, voice cracking. Marcus stepped closer. "Because while you were busy playing king in this little glass castle, you touched the wrong queen." Marcus bent down, his eyes leveling with Richard's terrified ones. "And now I own you." Richard's lip quivered. "Please. I'm begging you, don't ruin me." Marcus's reply was slow, controlled, merciless. "You ruined yourself." Behind Marcus, the men in black stood like statues. And outside the bank, more black SUVs kept arriving. The city didn't know it yet. But this was only the first tremor. The real earthquake was coming. Ariana had just stepped into the quiet elegance of their Brooklyn Heights penthouse when a sudden tightness gripped her lower abdomen. Sharp. Deep. Wrong. She clutched the wall, gasping softly as the pain spread like a tightening rope around her belly. Darius's men had arrived moments earlier, filling the penthouse with silent vigilance. 2 stood by the door, 1 monitored the hallway, another checked every window. None spoke unless necessary. All watched Ariana with protective intensity, but none of them expected her to suddenly bend forward, hand pressed to her stomach, breath trembling. "Ma'am," one of the guards said, stepping toward her, "are you all right?" Ariana tried to answer, but another wave of pain hit her, stronger this time. Her knees weakened. She grabbed the back of a chair to keep herself upright. I don't think so," she whispered. Darius, who had stayed right by her side after escorting her home, moved instantly. "What's wrong?" Ariana breathed through clenched teeth. "My stomach, it hurts. It wasn't like this before." Darius didn't hesitate. "Get the car. Now." Within seconds, 2 guards rushed toward the private elevator that led to the building's reserved parking. Another gently supported Ariana, guiding her toward the door. But halfway to the elevator, Ariana stopped again. Pain struck harder. Her vision blurred. A cold sweat broke across her forehead. Darius knelt beside her, his calmness unwavering even as worry rippled beneath the surface. "Ariana, listen to me. You're going to the hospital. Marcus will meet us there. You're safe." She tried to nod, but tears pricked her eyes. Not from fear of the pain, but from fear of what stress could do to her baby. The elevator doors dinged open. 2 guards helped her inside while Darius stood beside her, speaking softly but firmly into his earpiece. "She's in pain. Get Marcus on the line. Tell him we're heading to New York Presbyterian." The elevator descended in a smooth but tense silence. Ariana breathed loudly, her hand covering the side of her belly where the ache pulsed hardest. When the doors opened to the underground garage, a sleek black SUV waited with its back door already open. 1 guard rushed to help her in, another secured the area. The moment she sat down, another contraction hit. Strong. Too strong. Ariana doubled over, 1 hand gripping the seat, the other covering her belly protectively. Darius climbed into the front passenger seat. "Drive. Don't stop for anything." The SUV shot out of the garage. Manhattan traffic was brutal, but the driver cut through lanes with precision and confidence, lights flashing, horn blaring. Every bump, every turn made Ariana tighten her jaw in agony. Darius turned around in his seat. "Ariana, talk to me. How far apart are the pains?" She tried to answer, but another intense wave rolled through her. Her voice came out strained. I don't know. They're getting worse." Darius nodded, his calm voice a lifeline. "We're almost there." The city blurred outside the windows. Buildings, bridges, traffic lights, all passing like streaks of color as the SUV tore across the Brooklyn Bridge. Inside the car, Ariana's breathing grew louder. Her hands trembled, and for the first time since leaving the bank, fear crept into her voice. "Please, just get me there." "We will," Darius assured her, his voice steady. "We're 5 minutes out." Her phone buzzed weakly in her hand. She lifted it to her ear as the call connected. "Marcus," her voice broke into a whisper. His reply was immediate, fierce, yet soft for her alone. "I'm on my way. I'm coming to you right now. Hold on, Ari. Hold on for me." She closed her eyes, letting his voice anchor her through the storm ripping through her body. "I'm scared," she whispered. Marcus inhaled sharply on the other end. "I know. But you're not alone. Darius is with you. I'm heading straight to the hospital." The SUV made a sharp turn. The hospital was coming into view. Ariana clenched the seat as another contraction surged painfully. Marcus heard the strain in her breath. "Ari, listen to me. No matter what happens, you and our baby are everything to me. I need you to be strong, just a little longer." The SUV pulled into the ambulance bay. Doctors and nurses rushed toward the car the second Darius swung open the door. Ariana couldn't stand on her own. 2 nurses supported her immediately, guiding her into a wheelchair. The bright hospital lights made her eyes water. She whispered into the phone one last time before they rolled her inside. "Hurry." "I'm already there," Marcus said. But Ariana didn't see him yet. She was wheeled down a long hallway, lights flashing overhead, machines beeping in distant rooms. Nurses spoke quickly in urgent voices. Everything blended together. Pain, fear, voices, movement. Then the world faded into a blur of bright white lights as she was rushed into an emergency maternity unit. And in that moment, Marcus Donovan tore through Manhattan traffic like a storm unleashed. The man who struck Ariana had no idea what kind of hell he had started. But the city was about to find out. While Ariana was being rushed through the bright halls of New York Presbyterian Hospital, another kind of storm was spreading across Manhattan, a silent, coordinated, terrifying storm. Marcus Donovan's men moved like shadows through the city. Not reckless, not loud, not violent, just precise, controlled, inevitable. By the time Marcus sped toward the hospital, the first phase of his orders had already begun. The sweep of Manhattan Financial Bank. It began with a quiet takeover. Not guns. Not threats. Just presence. Dozens of black SUVs lined the street outside Manhattan Financial Bank. Men in black suits formed a perimeter on the sidewalk, their faces unreadable. Passers-by slowed down, whispering, recording videos, thinking it was the FBI, the Secret Service, or something even bigger. Inside the bank, employees sat frozen at their desks while Darius's secondary team walked in calmly, one by one, checking everything. Laptops, servers, office drawers, documents, security footage, call logs. Nothing was touched, but everything was examined. And every employee who had stood by while Ariana was humiliated was now being quietly, methodically documented. One of the tellers whispered nervously to a coworker, "Are we getting shut down? Are they arresting us?" Her coworker shook his head, trembling. "I don't know, but I think we made a mistake letting that happen to her." Meanwhile, upstairs in the executive hall, Richard Cole was no longer the king of his castle. He was sitting behind his desk, trembling so badly he could barely hold a pen. The flash drive with all the evidence of his crimes lay beside him like a ticking bomb. His phone buzzed again. His supervisor from the Wall Street headquarters. He didn't answer. He couldn't. Because Marcus's men were still outside his office door, silent, still, like statues waiting for a command. And Richard knew. The humiliation he had forced onto Ariana was nothing compared to what was coming for him. The internet explodes. As the sweep continued, the viral video was spreading at a pace no PR team could contain. 200,000 views. 500,000. 1 million. 2 million. Hashtags erupted. Calls for justice flooded every platform. People from every part of New York demanded accountability. But none of them knew who Ariana truly was. None of them knew who her husband was. And none of them knew that justice was already on its way, not from the internet, but from the most powerful man in the city's underworld. Marcus in motion. Meanwhile, Marcus's black car shredded through Manhattan traffic. His driver ran red lights, swerved through lanes, and forced taxis aside. Horns blared, brakes screeched, pedestrians shouted. Inside the car, Marcus didn't react to any of it. He sat in the back seat, elbows on his knees, phone pressed to his ear. His voice was quiet, controlled, but heavy with something rare. Fear. His men updated him rapidly. Richard Cole's digital footprint is secured. The bank's internal servers have been mirrored. Every employee tied to the incident is logged. The media outlets are already sniffing. Do we intervene? Marcus answered without hesitation. No. Let them bark. I'll handle the bite. Another update came through his earpiece. Sir, the harassment complaints he buried, there are a lot of them. Marcus's jaw clenched. Good. The deeper the hole he dug, the easier I can bury him. The driver made a sharp turn, almost sending a passing biker into a shout. But Marcus didn't look up, didn't blink. His thoughts were only on Ariana, her voice shaking, her breath trembling, her pain, her fear, and the life she carried inside her. A life they didn't know yet, boy or girl, but loved already like destiny itself. Marcus wasn't the kind of man who cried, but something in his chest felt like it was cracking open. Drive faster, he said softly. The driver pressed the accelerator harder. Ariana fights the pain. Back in the hospital, Ariana clutched the edges of her bed as another contraction tore through her. Nurses moved around her quickly, checking monitors, placing 4 lines, whispering urgent medical terms. A doctor appeared beside her, voice calm but firm. "Mrs. Donovan, we need to monitor both you and the baby closely. Stress can trigger early labor. We're going to do everything we can to keep you safe." Ariana nodded weakly, biting her lip to stay focused. But her heart hammered with fear. Not fear of labor. Fear of what her husband might be walking into. "Please," she whispered breathlessly, "just let him get here." The doctor placed a reassuring hand on her arm. "He's on his way." She closed her eyes, letting the words settle. Even through the pain, she felt it. Marcus was coming. She just needed to hold on. And miles away, the kingpin of New York was arriving at the hospital entrance, bringing the storm with him. The automatic doors of New York Presbyterian Hospital slid open with a soft hiss, but the atmosphere that followed was anything but gentle. Marcus Donovan stepped inside with a force of presence so thick the air itself seemed to tighten around him. He didn't shout. He didn't run. But every person in that lobby felt him before they even realized who he was. His dark coat swung lightly behind him, his jaw tight, his eyes sharp with a fury he kept buried under a layer of ice. 2 of his men walked directly behind him, not touching him, not guiding him, simply existing like shadows attached to his spine. The security guard at the desk froze, eyes widening. "Sir, can I help you?" Marcus didn't slow his stride. "Ariana Donovan, Labor and Delivery Emergency Unit. Which floor?" The guard swallowed hard. "5th floor, sir. Elevators to your right." Marcus didn't nod, didn't thank him. He simply moved. The elevator ride was silent. The 2 men behind him didn't speak. No one dared to. Marcus's breath came in slow, controlled pulls, but his hands, those hands that had broken bones, signed treaties, held power, were shaking. He clenched them into fists, forced them still. "Ari, hold on," he whispered under his breath. It wasn't a command. It was a plea. When the elevator doors opened, he stepped into the bright white corridor of the maternity wing. Nurses and doctors hustled past him, but their steps slowed when they saw him. He was not a man you ignored. Not with that expression. Not with that darkness in his eyes. A nurse approached cautiously. "Sir, can I help you find?" Marcus cut her off gently. "Ariana Donovan." Recognition flickered in her eyes. "Oh yes. She's in room 503. This way, sir." Marcus followed her down the hall, each step heavy, echoing off the sterile floor. His heartbeat climbed into his throat. The closer he got, the more a crushing mix of fear and rage twisted inside him. He had seen the video. He had seen Ariana's fear. He had seen her hand cover her belly. And he would never forgive himself for not being there. They turned a corner. Room 503. The door was half open. Marcus stepped inside. Ariana lay on the hospital bed, 4 in her arm, sweat on her forehead, pain wrinkling her brow. 2 nurses moved around her, checking monitors and adjusting equipment. Her eyes were closed, breathing shaky, fighting wave after wave of pain. Marcus froze at the doorway. His chest tightened so hard he could barely breathe. Seeing her like that. His Ariana. The woman who had saved him from his own darkness. The mother of his child. Hurting. Frightened. Alone. He stepped forward, voice cracking in a way no one had ever heard from him. "Ari." Her eyes fluttered open. The moment she saw him, fresh tears filled them. "Marcus." He reached her bedside in 2 long strides. His hand found hers instantly, engulfing it in a warm, trembling grip. He leaned close, his forehead brushing hers lightly. "I'm here," he whispered, voice unsteady. "I'm right here. I'm not leaving you." Ariana breathed out a shaky sigh, relief washing across her face like warm light. "I was so scared." Marcus swallowed hard. His eyes glistened, just barely. "You don't ever have to be scared alone. Not while I'm alive." Another contraction struck her. Ariana clenched his hand, gasping in pain. Marcus didn't flinch. He didn't pull back. He held her hand tighter, grounding her through the agony. A nurse looked at him. She's experiencing stress-induced preterm contractions. We're monitoring to make sure the baby stays stable. It's critical she stays calm." Marcus nodded once, jaw tight. "Then I'll keep her calm." Ariana blinked slowly, her voice trembling. "Marcus, what's going to happen with the man who hit me?" Marcus's expression darkened, but his voice stayed soft, for her. "Nothing you need to worry about." She stared at him. She knew what that meant. But she didn't argue. Because right now, she needed him more than answers. Marcus kissed her forehead gently and whispered, "Focus on breathing. Let me handle the world outside that door." She nodded weakly, eyes closing again as he stroked her hand. But Marcus wasn't calm inside. Not even close. Because while he held Ariana steady, his men were spreading across the city. And Richard Cole's life was ending piece by piece. The moment Marcus stepped into Ariana's hospital room and saw her trembling in pain, something inside him changed. Something deep. Something dangerous. By the time he held her hand and whispered that he was there, another version of Marcus, cold and calculating, had already begun dismantling Richard Cole's life outside those walls. Because Marcus Donovan did not need to raise a fist to destroy a man. He only needed a phone call. The digital guillotine drops. Inside the penthouse command center in Brooklyn Heights, Leon Hayes sat at a long table, several screens glowing in front of him. His fingers flew across multiple keyboards with terrifying precision. Bank emails cloned. Personal cloud decrypted. Financial accounts traced. Miguel stood beside him, arms crossed, expression unreadably calm. "What's the status on the footage?" Leon answered without pausing. Every harassment incident he buried. Every time he abused staff. Every illegal loan modification. "They're all here." "And the push?" Miguel asked. Leon clicked one key. The push began instantly. Evidence packets auto-sent to the Wall Street Compliance Office, the Internal Fraud Division, the FDIC, the New York State Attorney General's Office, local newsrooms, national newsrooms. Leon leaned back, satisfied. He's finished. The call that ended his career. Back at Manhattan Financial Bank, Richard Cole sat slumped in his leather chair. His shirt clung with sweat. His hands shook as he tried to sip water. His office phone rang. He nearly fell out of his chair when he saw the caller ID. "Headquarters. Wall Street Division." He answered with a cracking voice. Hello." "Richard Cole," a cold voice said, "effective immediately, you are suspended from all duties. Your access is revoked. Investigators are en route. Do not leave the building." Richard swallowed hard, throat dry. "This is a misunderstanding. We received substantial evidence. Multiple felony-level offenses. Tampering. Fraud. Misconduct. And an ongoing public scandal involving a pregnant assault victim filmed inside the branch." Richard froze. "They can't prove." The voice cut him off. "Save your excuses for the state attorney. Do not attempt to destroy or alter any files. Agents will arrive shortly." The call ended. Richard stared at the phone, shaking uncontrollably. Then things got worse. His personal phone buzzed. Dozens of missed calls. His mother. His sister. His girlfriend, Clara Jennings from headquarters. He answered Clara's call with desperate relief. "Clara, thank God. Listen, I need your..." Her voice hit him like a knife. "Do not call me again. Your face is everywhere. Your career is over. We are not associated. Goodbye." The line went dead. Richard felt his world collapsing like a building imploding floor by floor. The men in black return. A soft knock broke the silence in his office. Richard jumped. Who is it?" The door opened. Darius King stepped inside. Calm. Silent. Unblinking. Two more men stood behind him, blocking the hallway. Richard backed up until he hit the bookshelves. What do you want now?" he stammered. "I said I'm sorry. I'll do anything. Please." Darius didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't raise his voice. "You destroyed your own life," he said quietly. Richard's knees nearly buckled. I didn't know who she was. You didn't need to know, Darius replied. You don't assault a woman. And you never ever put your hands on a pregnant one. Richard grabbed his hair. I didn't mean to. It just happened. Darius stepped forward, close enough that Richard felt his breath freeze. Your choices led you here. Richard collapsed into his chair, shaking. What will he do to me? Darius leaned in. The law will handle you. Richard looked up, stunned. He's not killing me. Darius's eyes shifted, dark and sharp. No. What Marcus wants for you is worse. Richard swallowed loudly. Worse than death. Darius nodded once. You live. You lose everything. You breathe every day knowing you chose this fate. He stepped back toward the door. And then you disappear into a system you once thought you controlled. Richard trembled. Please, tell him I'm sorry. Darius paused. He doesn't care. And with that, the men left him alone, just as federal agents stepped into the lobby downstairs. Richard Cole's life was over. Back at the hospital, Marcus sat at Ariana's bedside, brushing his thumb across her knuckles as she breathed through another contraction. The doctor approached. Mr. Donovan, the baby seems stable for now. She needs rest. Marcus nodded, his voice low. Thank you, doctor. When the doctor stepped away, Ariana whispered, Marcus, what happened at the bank? He squeezed her hand gently. It's handled. Did you hurt him? Marcus placed a hand on her cheek, brushing a strand of hair away. No, Ari. I didn't touch him. Her eyes softened with relief. Then he added quietly, but I didn't need to. Ariana understood. Marcus wasn't a man who needed fists. He had an army, a network, a kingdom in the shadows. And when someone harmed the one thing he loved, his enemies didn't bleed. They vanished. Ariana closed her eyes again, breathing slowly as Marcus whispered, Rest. I'm right here. But outside that hospital room, New York was shaking from the aftershocks of Richard Cole's destruction, and the night was far from over. A week passed. Ariana remained in the hospital under careful observation. The doctors stabilized her contractions, and the baby was safe for now. Marcus never left her side unless absolutely necessary, and when he did, Darius stayed in the room like an immovable guardian. But while Ariana healed, Richard Cole's life disintegrated. He had been arrested, questioned, investigated, and finally released on strict bail conditions. The agents took everything. His ID badge, his access cards, his company car, his savings, his reputation. His name became the #1 trending headline in New York. He couldn't walk down a street without someone whispering, pointing, or recording him. He couldn't eat at a restaurant, couldn't go to work, couldn't speak to anyone without trembling. By the time he stumbled into his tiny one-bedroom apartment in Queens, far from the life of prestige he once flaunted, he was barely holding himself together. He hadn't slept in days, hadn't eaten properly, hadn't stopped shaking. But the worst came when he turned on the single lamp in his living room. 3 quiet knocks at his door. Not loud, not threatening, just soft, precise. Dread poured into Richard's stomach like ice water. He stepped toward the door, his breath uneven. He opened it slowly, and his heart nearly stopped. Ariana Brooks stood there, pregnant, calm, cold in a way he didn't think she could ever be. Beside her stood 2 of Marcus's women, tall, intimidating, silent. Bodyguards disguised with grace. Ariana looked nothing like the terrified woman he slapped in a crowded bank lobby. She looked like someone who had survived a storm, someone who understood her own power, someone he could never break again. Richard's voice cracked. "WH, why are you here?" Ariana stepped inside without waiting for permission. The bodyguards followed, closing the door behind them. Richard backed away until he hit his cheap couch. Ariana looked around slowly. The peeling paint, the dim lamp, the faded carpet. Far from the grand office he once ruled. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was soft, almost gentle. "You want to know something funny, Richard?" He swallowed hard, unable to respond. Ariana placed a hand on her belly, the gesture protective, steady. You thought I was nobody when you hit me. Richard lowered his head, shame burning his face. You thought a pregnant woman standing alone couldn't fight back. He sank onto the couch, tears welling in his eyes. You thought you could humiliate me because of the color of my skin, the way I dressed, the fact that I walked into your world. Ariana stepped closer. Her eyes glowed with a quiet fire. But the truth is, I was never alone. The words struck him harder than any slap. My husband didn't have to hurt you, Ariana said softly. You destroyed yourself the moment you raised your hand at someone vulnerable. Richard stared at the floor, broken. Ariana continued, her voice calm, but powerful enough to echo through the room. You didn't know who I was. But even if I had been nobody, you still had no right. A tear slid down Richard's cheek. I know, he whispered. Ariana took a slow breath. I didn't come here to threaten you. I didn't come here for revenge. Richard looked up, confused. I came here, Ariana said, so you could look into the eyes of the woman you thought was worthless, and understand that what you lost wasn't because of my husband. She leaned forward slightly. It was because of your own cruelty. Richard's chest tightened as he covered his face with shaking hands. Ariana stepped back. The two bodyguards opened the door for her. As she left, she looked over her shoulder. Her final words were soft. A man with a title should lift people, not break them. Then she walked out, leaving Richard Cole alone in the silence of the life he had destroyed with his own hands. Back at the hospital, Marcus waited in the room, sitting beside the bed where Ariana wanted to lay down again after the trip. She entered quietly. Marcus stood immediately. Ari, where did you go? Ariana walked to him, placing a hand on his chest. I went to close a door, she whispered, so I never have to look back. Marcus cupped her face gently, searching her eyes. Did he say anything? He didn't have to, she murmured. Some punishments come from living with what you've become. Marcus pulled her into his arms, holding her carefully. Proud, protective, and finally, calm. Because Ariana wasn't just strong. She was the anchor that kept his world steady. As Marcus kissed her forehead softly, he whispered, I love you. Ariana leaned into him. And I'm ready to go home. The morning light crept softly through the tall windows of the Brooklyn Heights penthouse. The city outside was already awake, horns echoing in the streets below, ferries crossing the East River, the distant hum of life resuming its rhythm. Inside, the world was quiet, still, peaceful. For the first time in weeks, Ariana slept soundly, curled beneath a warm blanket, her breathing slow and even. The doctors had discharged her the day before, confident that the baby was stable again and that the stress-induced contractions had finally faded. Marcus Donovan sat beside the bed, watching her with an expression almost no one in the world would believe he could make. Soft, protective, unmasked. In his hand, he held the small velvet box containing the gold bracelet he had bought for her months ago. He planned to give it to her the day their baby was born. But after everything, he realized she deserved it now. Ariana stirred. Her eyes fluttered open slowly, and the first thing she saw was Marcus leaning toward her, his voice low and warm. Good morning, sweetheart. A gentle smile tugged at her lips. You didn't sleep. I did, he lied quietly. Ariana raised an eyebrow. Marcus. He exhaled. All right. I didn't. She reached up, brushing her fingers lightly along his jaw. You can sleep now. I'm home. I'm safe. Marcus took her hand, pressing it to his lips. I wasn't worried about you being safe here. I was worried about you being scared. Ariana's eyes softened. Not anymore. Marcus opened the velvet box. Ariana's breath caught slightly. Marcus. He fastened the delicate gold bracelet around her wrist. The metal glittered softly in the early sun. This, he said quietly, is for surviving everything life threw at you. For staying strong. For protecting our baby even when the world tried to shake you. Ariana blinked back tears. It's beautiful. You're beautiful, he whispered. She leaned into him, resting her forehead against his chest. For a moment, the world disappeared. The hospital, the fear, the chaos, the cruelty she endured. Everything faded except the steady beat of his heart against her ear. After several quiet minutes, Ariana spoke. What will happen to him? Marcus didn't ask who she meant. He knew. He stroked the back of her head gently. He faces a long trial. Fraud charges. Tampering. Misconduct. Everything he hid has surfaced. Ariana nodded slowly. She had expected it. But Marcus continued. He's being transferred to a secure facility today. Far from Manhattan. Far from anything he once knew. Ariana inhaled deeply. I didn't want him hurt. Marcus tilted her chin up. Ari, the worst punishment a man like that can face isn't pain. He brushed his thumb across her cheek. It's losing the power he thought made him untouchable. Ariana's eyes glistened, and she rested her head back against him. After a few moments, she whispered, Thank you. For protecting me. For everything. Marcus closed his eyes, holding her tighter. I will always protect you. Both of you. His hand traced a soft line across her belly. Our little one is strong, he murmured. Just like their mother. Ariana smiled, placing her hand on top of his. We're going to be a family soon. Marcus kissed her hair. The luckiest family in the world. Later that afternoon, Ariana sat on the penthouse balcony, wrapped in a warm blanket, sipping tea while looking at the Manhattan skyline. The wind was soft, the sun low, painting the city in golden light. Marcus stepped outside carrying a folded envelope. What's that? Ariana asked. The last piece, he said. He handed it to her gently. She opened the envelope and found a single document inside. A letter of formal termination from the bank board. Effective immediately. Permanent. Irreversible. Ariana stared at it for a long moment. Then she folded it, set it aside, and said softly, It's over. Marcus took her hands in his. It's over, he repeated. The wind blew lightly against them, carrying away every echo of fear, humiliation, and pain that had shadowed their days. For the first time in what felt like forever, Ariana felt free. Marcus pulled her close, letting her rest against his shoulder as they watched the sun begin to set. Marcus. We're going to raise our child to be nothing like the people who hurt us. He kissed the top of her head. Our child will know strength, and kindness, and love. Ariana smiled softly. And they'll know that their father would burn down the world to protect them. Marcus chuckled quietly. Only if I have to. Ariana leaned into him. Together, they watched the city lights flicker to life. A new chapter beginning. A new peace settling over their lives. A new future waiting for all three of them.